That out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this segment. So, as we know, the Warriors, they are 7-1, and they are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. They they just recently beat the Boston Celtics, albeit without Jaylen Brown. Regardless, that is still a very, very impressive win. And I mean, any team that can take down the Boston Celtics is a formidable team, of course. And the fact that it's the Warriors is just all that even more impressive, because no one really expected the Warriors to be this good to start out the season. And I don't even think the Warriors really expected to be this good to start out the season. So the big question that everyone has with the Warriors now is whether or not they can keep this up. Can this Warriors roster continue to play as well as they've been playing? And again, these games they've been very, very, very good, very efficient, and very effective in all of these games that they've played. And the team has consistently been playing 11 players a night and have even reached to 13 players on some occasions. And while this has worked, Tim Bontemps of ESPN reported that the team knows this isn't a sustainable approach, but that it can help the aging roster manage the regular season schedule and potentially return to contention in the Western Conference. So, according to this ESPN writer, he claims that privately the Warriors admit that they know they can't play this way forever, which is honestly a little bit concerning. Because, if you are the Warriors, if you are a Warriors fan and if you are, the Warriors, honestly, the fact that they know that this style of play is just unheard of, not necessarily unheard of, but it's, so rare that they're not even sure they can keep it up for the rest of the season, goes to say something. Because usually when, these players, they know exactly what they can do and they know their limits. And some of these results, they end up being shooting luck. Some of these results, they end up being just one player having a good game at a very good time. But regardless, depending on the team, they're always going to say that, they know exactly what they can do. And for them to say that they know that they cannot withstand, playing like this every single time, it's a little bit concerning, I will say that, if you are a Warriors fan. And they know that all of these wins have been, I wouldn't necessarily call them fluky wins, but again, it's something that they will not be able to withstand, at least according to themselves. This is just what they're saying, and that's really where the rumor's coming in. Can the Warriors continue to do this in the regular season? And the Warriors right now are apparently saying that they're not even sure if they can. And as Bontemps wrote privately, they admit that they can't play like this forever. But what's proving true is that this strategy can help through the grind of the 82-game regular season and set up Golden State to be a factor in the West. Because, remember, this whole, how should I say this? This whole thing, this whole season with the Warriors right now, Steph Curry was injured for a little bit and he was unable to play in some of these games, but regardless, the Warriors were still able to win in some of these games. And that's honestly way more impressive and way more unexpected than what I thought coming in from the Warriors, right? Because, again, usually the Warriors without Steph Curry, they're not the same team, and obviously they're going to be worse without having their best player. But the fact that they were able to play and win by double digits in some of these games without their best player is nothing short of impressive, in my opinion. I mean, that is really, really good. Now, excuse me, but obviously we know Steph Curry acknowledged that the grind this season forces rotations to get smaller per Bontemps, but the diverse usage has certainly helped him remain at the top of his game. Curry, that so far this season, is not even really playing all that well, prime Steph Curry averages we're expecting. He's averaging only 21 points per game, and I say only because, we're used to Steph averaging around, 26, 27, something like that. 7 assists and 5.2 rebounds. Really, the 7 assists is a really good aspect of his game, I will say, through 5 games while playing in 27 minutes per game. So that's probably why his scoring production is not really all that much, even though he hasn't really been shooting the ball all that great but again, these are just, when I say not all that great and, a little bit and those kinds of things, I'm mainly just comparing Steph Curry's numbers to himself and what we're used to seeing Steph Curry produce. Because obviously these numbers are great. Like if you look at this and don't think it's Steph Curry who's averaging these numbers, you'd think that player is incredibly solid. But when you look at him and realize that it is Steph Curry averaging these numbers, you think, oh, this is a little bit less than what he was able to do before, right? But regardless, these are still great numbers. And he's only played less than 30 minutes per game in one season in his entire NBA career. And that number is likely going to increase as the season continues, which would mean that his averages would probably increase as well. However, the lesser usage should help the 36-year-old remain fresh as the season goes on, and thus, probably allowing them to make a deep playoff run. This is going to be incredibly crucial for the Warriors team that fell in the play-in tournament in 2023-2024, and the franchise has been in that round for the last 2 seasons following their 2021-2022 NBA championship. And avoiding it could help the team go on a potential run in the postseason. So they sit in a 3-way tie for the 1 seed right now in the Western Conference. While it is very early, again, it's still very early in the season, so that could change. It's still a pretty good sign for this team that may have some more success left in them. So again, we're not entirely sure exactly how long these Warriors are going to be able to keep this up. I don't think they're going to be able to keep it up that much longer. I think eventually, reality is going to set in with this team. But again, I could be wrong. They do still have Steph Curry, and we still have yet to see a dominant Steph Curry performance, even though he did play really, really well against the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to say that he did not play well against the Celtics, because that would just be incredibly wrong. I mean, he did have 27 points in that outing, 9 assists and 7 rebounds. But again, still, with those good numbers, that's still not a dominant performance coming in from Steph, which is crazy to say. I'm usually used to seeing, a dominant Steph game being around 36 points, right? I'm pretty sure we all can agree with that. He does that. And the fact that he hasn't had a performance like that yet is, still shows that there might be some more left in the tank, Now, in some other news with these NBA rumors, in regards to Greg Popovich and his health, as you guys know, Greg Popovich is sort of out for the moment, given health issues, but according to reports, Victor Wembanyama is not worried and expects Greg Popovich to be back soon. So, after leading the Spurs to a 118-105 win over the Blazers on Thursday, Wemby was asked if he had spoken to Popovich since the coach had suffered a health scare last Saturday. And he said, quote, "We don't hear a lot from Pop, but they keep us informed as much as we're allowed to know," Wemby told reporters. "So I'm not worried about him. I know he's going to come back soon. But no, we're not talking to him directly that much." And that's really to be expected from Pop. I don't really expect him to talk directly to the players, considering his health issues and in regards about his health issues. He'd want them to focus on the season at hand. And obviously, the French phenom, Victor, he has praised the interim coach, Mitch Johnson, for doing a great job in his 4th game in charge of the team in Popovich's absence. The Spurs are 2-2 under Johnson, which includes a really impressive win over the Timberwolves, 113-103 the other day. Johnson also provided an update on Popovich's disclosing details of their most recent conversation. The coach said that Pop is doing good, but doesn't know definitively how long he'll remain sidelined. So that's the rumor. And that's sort of what we have to wait for, for this season. I really, really hope that nothing bad happens to Greg Popovich. I would not be ready to cover a story like that if something bad does happen to him. So, everybody, prayers up. Let's hope that he's all right. And, let's hope that he can return to this season, because we need him to coach Victor. We need him to do so. I mean, he's produced 2 Hall of Fame big men already, David Robinson and Tim Duncan. We all know that they're in the Hall of Fame. And now he needs to produce one more with Victor, and the Spurs dynasty might be back and shining once again. Again, we'll see. No idea. Anything can happen. So that's all that I really have to say with these NBA rumors going about right now. So We're going to stick with the trend of talking about rumors, but this time we're going to focus more on trade rumors in this third segment. We're going to be looking at possible trades that could be going down. Primarily a trade coming in, which I expect to be coming in, from the Lakers, because I think this is usually around the time where the Lakers, they start, okay, we need to try and find this player. Oh, we need to get this player. This is around that time. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that right after this short break, so be sure to stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.